Good morning. Welcome to Trivest Invest Wisely. My name is Martin Pelche. I'm a portfolio manager and family chief investment officer here at Trivest Wealth Counsel. Today I'm going to talk about private equity and why it should play a role within your broader portfolio. There's been a lot of interest in this segment because interest rates have been very low for a long period of time. And to be honest, equity returns and bond markets have been fairly flat and lackluster outside of the US. So most Canadian investors are very well diversified, not just within the US. And so as a result, they've seen pretty modest rates of return in public markets. And so they've been enticed by higher rates of return within being offered within the private equity and venture cap space. And so, we don't disagree. Venture cap and private equity should play a role within your broader investment portfolio, but there are some limitations for the average investor. So, for example, your money is going to be locked up for at least 5 or 10 years to allow it to work within the investments that are being made. And so as a result, you can't touch that money. And so if you have a $3 million portfolio and you have half of it locked up for a long period of time, that's too much of an allocation for most people. Having said that, putting a 10% or a $300,000 allocation within that segment of the market may not necessarily be a bad thing to do. However, there are some limitations by this. And so what I mean by that is $300,000 isn't going to get you very far in the space because often the investment minimums that we see can be quite large, like $500,000 for one investment or $1 million for another investment. And so where it can be particularly helpful for investors of a $3 to $10 million net worth range is to look at a funds or funds of funds approach within the segment. So there's venture cap, which is very early stage, high growth, high rates of return. And there's private equity, which is companies who are not large enough to be public yet, but need some capital. So they can't tap public markets, so need to raise money from private investors. And so they're early, sort of mid to late stage growth, and they want to scale out their businesses. And so by owning a funds of funds, you can get diversification within venture cap, within private equity, and within multiple industries such as technology, artificial intelligence, cognitive computing, industrial, even cannabis, for example, real estate, a whole wide range. And having a maximum diversified approach would be very prudent, especially for portfolios of the range I just mentioned. Now, when you are looking at investing in that space, you want to make sure that the same rules apply when you're looking at investing in the public markets or public funds. You want to make sure you've got maximum transparency. And so you're going to see what kind of reporting am I going to get over the 5 years? What kind of updates am I going to get? Am I going to take a look at the top holdings within the fund? If it's a company, let's take a look at your financials. Am I going to get regular updates from you as to how my capital investment is working? You want to look at the track record of the management team of that particular fund or fund of funds. And then you also want to look at the diversification being offered within those funds. And so, taking a look at adding them into your portfolio, they do offer a higher return potential, but that trade-off is on liquidity being locked up for a long period of time and some higher risk into the portfolio as well. So take a look at private equity and venture cap. We do so on behalf of our clients. We do extensive due diligence, and it's been very useful for our clients in improving some of the return potentials being offered within their existing portfolio. But making sure that you get the appropriate expertise is always important because it does require a little bit of extra due diligence. So hopefully that was helpful. Take a look at the private equity venture cap space, but do so wisely. Take care.